Hi, last year I set myself the challenge of making a really great GTA garage tour, especially because I like to keep cars real life and so many other garage tours are modded cars. I had no idea how to do it, it was a massive project, took me a long time, but the end result I was proud of and I've been blown away by the number of people who've watched it. I had no idea so many people would watch it, like it, comment, etc. One of the comments that I've had many times is, how do you do this? How do you make it? What do you use? Well, I've tried to type a few things out in the comments, but it's very difficult. So this video is the making of a GTA Garage Tour video. And really, if you don't want to know how to make it, this will be boring AF, so just turn it off now. Oh, drop a like before you go, but thank you. I put some chapter markings down in the comments to make this easy for reference. First thing we want to look at is, how do we buy the garages? How many cars can we actually own in the game? I hate it when a YouTuber puts something on the screen and reads the whole thing out, so I'm not going to do that, but a few important points perhaps on this. Firstly, these are just the spaces you can put cars or motorbikes. There are other spaces for specialised vehicles, but they don't really concern us if we're doing a tour with just cars. You're limited in the game to buying 8 hind apartments or stilt houses. As you can see, then all the other garages are associated with various businesses you can buy, and you then add the garages as optional extras in the renovation section. And do note that the arcade is very dark. It's very difficult to film even if you up the brightness in Rockstar Editor. So I tend to keep the arcade for overflow vehicles, things that aren't perhaps real cars, things I don't want to show. Okay, so you've earned the money, you bought the cars, you bought the garages, and now you have to work out how to organize them. I think the only effective way really is a spreadsheet. The time it takes to do things on a spreadsheet compared with the time it takes to drive your vehicles all the way over town, forward, back, it's a lot quicker. So this is my spreadsheet. It's done in Excel. I think there's free versions of Excel. There's also Google Sheets and various other bits of software. So you don't need to color code it, but I have my garages on the left here, and obviously the correct number of spots for each garage. The name of the car, I've just done real names, but I may do GTA names as well next year under popular request. And then various columns to help me organize it. So here, for example, I put the manufacturer of the cars. Then these other columns are the type of cars, supercars or concept cars, limited edition cars, track-only cars, and so on and so forth. If a car falls into that category, I've written something underneath. Now, really, an X would have been much simpler than me keep writing this every time. That they just use X's. The reason for doing this is you can filter things quite quickly. So if I think, oh look, I actually would like to do an Audi collection, how many Audis have I got? Then I can just come in and filter by Audis. And I've got 4, so I probably can't really make an Audi collection. So that's one thing you can do with it. And the other way you can use this sort of spreadsheet is you can say, okay, it's not a manufacturer collection I want to make, a luxury car collection, for example. So cars that are under luxury, again, you can just filter. And that's how many luxury cars I have. Okay, so it's hard to set up, but it's simple then to actually use. It does also mean you have all the names here ready to put into titles and things later on, and you can make notes. I mean, spoiler for next year, the Ferraris are going into a different garage, and when this comes on sale, probably, or at some point, I'll buy an X80 to finish off the collection. So there's some notes there. And just think carefully about each car, because obviously many of them fall into multiple categories. A Bugatti Super Veyron is a concept car, a supercar, and a Bugatti. And the X's here just allow me to count the total number of cars. It's obviously quite a long spreadsheet, because there's a lot of garages. I think this really is the only way to organize it, and anybody who's very quick-witted will have seen changes on here versus my garage video, and obviously that's because I'm starting to slowly work towards next year's video. Okay, don't worry, I know what you're thinking. The video started strong with chill music and cars, and it's degenerated all the way down to Excel spreadsheets. Well, let's get back to some of the fun stuff now. So we're heading to my new Ferrari garage where I only have 9 Ferraris at the moment, so we'll pop the Night Shark in quickly to make a 10th vehicle. Okay, so we've got our Night Shark in our Ferrari collection, but that just fills the 10th spot. So how to film this garage is actually remarkably simple. I don't know what the console buttons are at all, but for the PC, F1, that's function button 1, will start an in-game recorder. If I just push it now, you look down, you see that it says it's recording, and if I push F1 again, it'll say it saved a clip. And we're going to look at the clips later. Now really the secret to recording the garage is you don't want to be on it, you want to be hidden away. So how can you be hidden whilst we record this 10-car collection? Well, I know I'm going to start the camera on the left, and I'm going to run the camera all the way to the end of the garage and all the rest of the way back. I also know that the first 10 seconds of footage that Rockstar Editor exports will have a watermark on it, and I don't want a watermark on it that says, you know, Retset Ferrari collection or whatever. So I'm going to have 10 seconds of nothing. I also know that I want about 3 seconds for each car, because otherwise the videos are too long. So it's going to take about 15 seconds to get up each side. So to record it, all I will do is I will walk over and I will hide myself just clear of where the camera is going to be. I will hit F1 and I will either estimate or count about 20 seconds, enough time for the 10 seconds I'm going to chop off and for the camera to have gone past where I am. Now you notice when I say camera, I don't appear to be carrying a camera or doing anything with a camera, and that's the beauty of it. You really don't have to. So I'll now run my character over here. I'll be removing the audio later, so it doesn't matter. And I'll just wait now for the timer to finish recording, which will lay down approximately a 1 minute clip. And that's the clip I'll edit later in Rockstar Editor, and we'll just take this clip straight through to fruition. I'll probably chop a bit out actually, this is really boring, isn't it, waiting for this to finish. I'm back for the exciting bit where I push F1 again at the end. It's actually recorded in 1.5 minutes, we don't need as much as that. If you run multiple recordings, i.e. you don't push anything at the end of F1, it makes a second recording, and when you put them together in Rockstar Editor, it's completely seamless. So although it appears you can only record about 1 minute at a time, you can really record as long as you want. Okay, well that was the game bit. We've recorded our 10-car garage. Now let's go and play with it. Firstly, into single player. And from single player into Rockstar Editor. Rockstar Editor even, whoops. Okay, this is actually a fairly simple program, but it doesn't always appear so simple when you use it. You start off to a main menu and you have to come all the way back to this menu if you want to do another project. So let's just do our garage. Create a new project. I will hit enter. Add a clip, hit enter again, clips by date. So here's clips that I used on a recent video, for example. And here's the most recent clip at the top. So I just hit enter. And it puts the clip now on a timeline, and I'll hit enter again and again. And now everything we do is about moving a virtual camera around the room in a fairly smooth manner. There's a number of cameras available to place anywhere you like on the timeline, and as many of them as you want to put on there. It's just really down to you. Now, the sort of camera we're going to use for a garage video is going to be the, if I can find it, the free camera. And we don't particularly want it to look at any target or to move with any target, but we do want it to blend smoothly. So I'm going to choose a smooth blend mode and blend easing. Now, if I edit my camera, you'll see that by using, I don't know what it is on PlayStation and stuff, but for me it's a mouse and keyboard, I can move the camera anywhere I want. So as you can see, it doesn't matter where I'm standing, although there is a range limit, and the range limit is not that high. And on some of the bigger garages, you have to be careful or you won't be able to move the camera all the way, depending on where you have stood. Okay, now remember I said there's 10 seconds of watermark. So I'm just going to save the camera position by pushing F5. It is for me. Escape back to the timeline. I'm then going to move we've got a timer up here, look. Just going to move this on to about 10 seconds. I'm going to hit M to make a marker, and in fact it's just enter, up arrow, enter is the quick way on a PC. That brings you again to the camera editor, and let's set this up properly. I want to slide across all the bonnets of the cars. I want to take the car in, so it's worth positioning the camera till you're happy with it. Let's say something like that, and I hit F5. Now there's no point in me putting a marker at each car, because what I want to do is move smoothly to the end, and I want to get to the end about 15 seconds or so from now. So let's escape back to the timeline, put a marker at 25 seconds. Okay, go through the menus again and move the camera down to where we want. So down to the Turismo or La Ferrari. That's where I want it to finish. Save. Now let's just say in a second or two, I want to start moving the camera around in a graceful arc. So I've made another little spot on the timeline, and we'll move the camera just a little bit of the way. And we're hoping the game is going to smooth all this out for us. Save the position. Go a little bit later on the timeline. Make another spot. The camera always stays the same type of camera as you'd asked for before. Maybe we go like this. Hit F5. Take another spot on the timeline. You can move all these spots afterwards. And we will settle on, say, let's go up a bit. You can see all the controls on the bottom right. Let's say we want to end up, I don't know, there. F5. Now again, for the rest of the cars, I'm not worried where the camera goes. So let's take 15 seconds further up. So 39 plus 15 is about 55. 55 seconds into the video. And we end up with our not a Ferrari. And then we want the camera to be able to linger onto this car until we leave. So let's just take a spot a random distance further up. Move the camera just a little bit. And in fact, this is such a long clip, I don't need the rest, so we can just move it down to the ending down to here and escape. Now we can actually watch the video and see if it's worked. So put the cursor there and start to play and see if it's what you want. If it's not due to timing, you can simply move these around to speed things up or slow things down, but obviously you may need to hover onto a certain one and edit that particular camera. I like the first row, so that's fine. Although you can hear my character running in the background, we'll be removing this soundtrack. Well, that was too slow. I mean, my God, I've fallen asleep with that turn round. I'm coming down here. That's okay. So the turn round was too slow. So if we maybe just move all these a bit closer together. We'll just note that that one there is on around 35 seconds. So I'll move this back to maybe just under 50 seconds. Let's just watch the turnaround at least. Maybe still a bit slow, but that's not bad. I'm not going to go any further because otherwise this will be a stupidly long video. Okay, I'll pause there. We've now filmed that garage and we've kept ourselves out of the filming. So if we escape, do you wish to save changes? Yes. Escape again. Now it will have saved this project as project 30. I can just hit save to be sure. You can also put another name in here, and that's what I normally do, so I don't get muddled up. So this was our test footage. And now you export the footage. So export, I always say 60 frames a second high, and you get the warning, do you want to export the name test? And I'll say yes. It'll take 3 minutes. I won't make you wait 3 minutes. I'm going to let it start creating the clip. As you can see, it's a sort of reasonable way on a fast computer, certainly, of being able to watch your footage through again. I don't know how the clips are saved out on console, but on PC they go to this rather obtuse address, which you can see in the top. I always make a quick access shortcut in Explorer so I can get to those. You can see our recently made test video on the bottom row. You can also see a number of clips with the same thumbnail, and that's because I didn't understand about the watermark when I made the garage video, so I had to go back with a number of them and just put 10 seconds of single player footage on the front of each video to get rid of that watermark. Now you want music for your video, but of course it can be socially divisive. I don't want to listen to rap or hip hop particularly, and you probably don't want to listen to the rock, metal or blues that I may have put on mine. So have a little think and go for something that will work for everybody and certainly has a sort of chill out element to it. A younger member of the family told me that I should look for some lo-fi chill music, and I have to admit I hadn't heard of this, but still I went off and found some. Find a website that gives you royalty-free music that you can use on YouTube without any worry of copyright claims or even worse, copyright strikes, although I think they're quite rare. I went to this site, chosic.com, and got some music, and I've had no problems. What I like about Chosic is you go through, so this is all free, by the way. We'll click lo-fi, and this person here, Purple Cat, I've used quite a bit of theirs. So we'll play one and see if we like it. We'll have a listen. Oh yeah, we like that one very much, so we want to download it. And they actually give you here the text that you will put in the video, which is great. So you're all covered legally. You can copy that, agree and download. I just save them all in one place, and I try to use the file name for both the MP3 and then a text file. So I've just got that later for reference. That's it really for the music. I mean, if you're into GarageBand or something, you can make your own, and I'm pleased if you've made your own. Link down below so I can watch it and listen to it. Well, we're almost there. So you have your video clips in the rendered folder, you have your music all downloaded. The one thing you may not have thought about is fonts, because you're going to want a nice looking font for all of the titles in your videos. Now, I chose this font that you're seeing here in the various clips. You've already seen it on the garage video. And the font is called Republica Minor 2.0. I hope you can read that here. And I also apologize, but I do use an ultra wide monitor, and although I've cut most of it square, I'm leaving this in its full size format. I like the font. If you add a stroke to the font, which is the black outline on it, then to me it's reminiscent of GTA, but it looks nicer and is easier to read in titles than the GTA font. But the GTA font is called Price Down, if you want to get hold of that. Price Down, but all one word. Once you've got the font, you need a video editor. I'll leave a link below to this one, which is Vinci Resolve by Blackmagic, who are the makers of high-end cameras. This is free. You can pay a lot of money to unlock very advanced features, but you don't need to. And like all of these things, when you open it up, it's so daunting you want to just close it down and turn it off. But if you Google DaVinci Resolve crash course on YouTube, there are some excellent videos, and within half an hour or so, you'll probably be editing away quite happily in this program. It's very, very powerful. Some settings, and that's what I really want to get onto. You've exported in 60 frames per second, so you want to keep your video editor project at 60 frames per second. I would also run a 4K project, which is I think 3840 by 2160. Set that up before you start the project. So if I look at my project settings here we are, 3840 by 2160, called Ultra HD or 4K. I've actually got this one at 59.94 frames a second, which is what GTA natively exports in. You could also put 60 in there. Do that before you start. At the end, again, export as 4K, and you'll want to export as an H.264 MP4 at approximately 45,000 kilobits per second. Works really nicely. If you export like that, yes, it takes a while to upload to YouTube. Yes, it takes a long time to process, but you will get a nice file back out in HD, and it will still look nice in 4K. It does work better than just sticking with HD. I can't really go through all of video editing. I think you probably know it anyway. It's simply a case of laying on the timeline all of your clips, cropping them down, adding transitions and fades, adding titles, and adding music, and if necessary, normalizing the tracks between, normalizing the volume between the music tracks. You don't want one very quiet one and one very loud one. And that's it, really. I don't know how many people are still with me at the end. I suspect it's about 3 people. So to all 3 of you, thank you very much for sticking around through such a long video. I hope it's helpful to you to making your GTA video. Oh look, I've run out of steam, so thanks very much for watching.